Our next session, presented by Amperity, will feature the VP of Community and Customer Marketing at Amperity, Jeanne Jones, and the Director of Marketing at Alaska Airlines, Elliott Pesut, in conversation with Skift editor Allison McCarthy.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. So even before the pandemic hit, traveler loyalty was already becoming less about things like points or miles and more about things like customer engagement and overall lifetime value. We know the next 12 to 18 months are going to be really unique as travelers make up for lost time. So getting the right message to the right customers will be key. So here with me to talk to me about how they're thinking about loyalty and customer data as travel comes back to life in a post-vaccine world is Jeanne Jones, VP of Community and Customer Marketing at Amperity, and Elliott Pesut, Director of Marketing at Alaska Airlines. Jeanne and Elliott, welcome and thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi. Awesome.
So fun fact, I know you guys worked at Alaska for about 10 years and you're both based in Seattle. Mm-hmm. So we're really excited to give you an excuse to be on stage with us together today.
Thanks.
Great. So Jeanne, I want to start with a question for you to set the scene here. So Amperity is a customer data platform that helps brands optimize and design their loyalty programs. But obviously engagement looked a lot different this past year. So talk to me about how traveler loyalty has shifted since the onset of the pandemic and what you expect to see going forward.
Yeah, thanks, Allison. Amperity does help with the optimization of your loyalty programs, but we also help with just putting your customer data in the center of everything you do. And one of the things that we've been able to see with the travel and hospitality customers that we work with is that, of course, earning points or miles is down over the course of the pandemic. But what is interesting, and I believe I heard the first speaker talk to this from Bonvoy, is that engagement is not down. So customers are still dreaming about travel and interested in ways to keep their accounts active. And so what's really interesting when we're heading into this next phase is to think how you can leverage that customer behavior and meet your guests where they are. And I think you'll hear some of the things that Elliott shares is that Alaska Airlines has really done that in terms of making sure that you're, talking to your customers as leisure travelers rather than business travelers at the beginning, ensuring that they're feeling safe, and then really, keying into that pent-up demand. I think I heard the term revenge travel, which I love. And I think that, those are the types of things that we've been seeing across both hotel, casino, and airline.
Great, thanks so much. So Elliott, wanted to chat with you as well. You've been with Alaska for about 13 years. You have managed integrated marketing, brand strategy, product marketing, and now you're the director of the overall marketing strategy at Alaska. So talk to me about how Alaska has adjusted its loyalty offerings over its past year, and as well as the overall brand messaging.
Yeah, so I'll start with the brand messaging. The Alaska brand is known for just being a really caring brand that wants to provide great travel experiences. And so we really made sure that our brand was at the center of our messaging for all the ways that we were meeting guests where they were when COVID hit. And we called that next level care. So it was really just like care is the most important thing to us. And during this COVID time, we're taking that to the next level. And that was really a messaging platform to cover, the extensions and credit certificates or travel credits rather that people had, and they didn't know when they were going to use them, and providing those extensions, allowing elite status to be extended for another year, allowing flexible ticketing purchases. We've eliminated change fees and made it easier for guests to, cancel their travel and keep the form of travel credits for when they are ready, as well as communicating over 100 measures that we took to change the guest experience to make it safer. And I think what we learned during this pandemic is that there's no one silver bullet to make it safe. And it was about having layers of safety in place. And so making sure that guests knew what those layers of safety were. And then I think most importantly, as destinations have started to open up with requirements for either testing or maybe even vaccination, making sure that guests had that information as well. And I think the other key thing is one example is you have all these travel credits, and I think some people just didn't know when they were going to be ready to travel again. And so we tried some different things with our guests where we allowed people to turn their travel credits into miles for the Alaska Mileage Program. And that kind of puts those miles in a rainy day fund that they can use on a variety of different airlines, and maybe for when they want to take a global trip when this is all over. So it was about care, and really it was an all-encompassing strategy to meet guests where they were, whether they weren't traveling or were traveling. And I think we tried to just be there for them, and we're ready to travel when they are.
Mm-hmm. Great. So it kind of sounds like people are kind of all over the place when it comes to travel over the past year. Some are traveling, some are waiting, some are holding off. So there's also a lot to educate travelers on. There's been so much change this past year, and it's all about getting, the right messages out to educate them and prepare them for when they do travel. So Jeanne, talk to me about how customer data plays a role in all of this, and how travel brands, should harness that data to send those right messages to the right people at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, customer data is really at the center of it. First of all, you have your customer at the center of it, and then all of the information around them. And all of those examples that Elliott mentioned are programs that Amperity supports Alaska Airlines on, whether it's finding the opportunities or the insights that you need to make these business decisions and develop these promotions, or the ability to actually send those audiences to your downstream systems, whether it be a marketing platform or an insights platform, to then take action on it. And then full circle, bringing that back in and being able to measure how those actually are performing and who is actually taking action, and using that to just get smarter and smarter. So when you're thinking of recovery, you really should be thinking how you can look at your customer data to be proactive and act ahead of time to find those insights, and then be nimble and quick. And you can't do that if your data is in silos. You can't do that if you're not looking at it every day and integrating it with all of your systems. So I believe that really the brands are going to have to take control of their first-party data, particularly with the death of the cookie. We can't rely on that third-party data anymore for acquisition tactics. So really looking at your customer data as a currency and how you can put it to work for you.
Great. So Elliott, we know travel is coming back to life, at least here in North America. We've heard that term revenge travel, and just last week, Skift Research published in its recovery index that March 2021 could be the true turning point for the industry, at least here. So I think the headline that they used was March brings positive vibes, which I love.
We all need positive vibes.
Yeah. So how is Alaska using customer data to re-engage its travelers over these next few months, many who have been inactive or at least, not traveling as much?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two ways that we're really activating our data is, one, it's to tell guests about new markets. I was trying to do the math this morning, and I think we've announced almost over 40 new markets since November of last year, and a lot of them are new leisure markets, connecting points that we serve, outdoor destinations. And so we have a lot of, I think, exciting news to share with our guests. And maybe they didn't know that these markets exist. We need to tell them, and they hopefully will book to go. And I think really the most important thing is really helping people be prepared for their trips. And as the government rules or even destination requirements change, it is, I think, what Jeanne said about being nimble. I feel like we are updating our guest communications like on the daily, and we need to have flexibility in our platforms and being able to target people based on all sorts of dimensions that may impact either where they're going or who they're going there with. And I think as COVID comes back, one of the things that I almost just keep telling, internally we keep talking about as a team is we have to kind of learn how to fly again. I mean, a lot of people have not traveled in a very long time, and it is very jarring to show up at the airport with the mask requirements and the limited food, and there may not be as many airport, restaurants open. And so there's just so many things that are going into your flying experience. And so being able to help people set their expectations and I think manage their trip really well is a huge part of how we're activating the data within Parity.
Totally. I have my next flight in a month, and like the thought of it, it's only 2 hours away. It's just like, how am I going to do this?
Well, and I'm actually traveling to Hawaii tomorrow, and I've been kind of stressing in the last couple of hours, and days to like make sure I have all my requirements put together to pass through the Safe Travels program.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Great. Well, obviously the next year or two is going to be really unusual. Travelers are making up for lost time. They're doing bucket list trips. They're going to spend more. They want to see friends or family. So Jeannie, can you go into more detail about what Amperity is doing to help support travel brands kind of, figure all of this out?
Sure. Yeah, we're supporting customers across all verticals. It's not just travel that's, dealing with this. We have retail, automotive customers as well that are facing this opportunity that we're calling the Great Reopening. And so when you're thinking about this Great Reopening, I think it's important that there are the specific opportunities that we can take specifically in the travel sector. There is pent-up demand. People also have been saving money over the last year. They've also been saving their points. Really look at where your travelers are and engage them. Look at their past behaviors. What destinations might pique their interest. Promote the travel. Don't be shy. Be a little bold. Look at who was traveling over this last year versus who wasn't, and really start to figure out how you can segment and test different messages with those audiences. And then also think about optimizing the loyalty program. We believe in this idea of customer centricity, which is actually not just putting all of your customers in the center of your business, but putting your most valuable customers in the center of your business. Like I said, data is a currency. And so really starting to look at your loyalty program as a way to grow profitability and customer lifetime value is more important now than ever before.
Great. So I'd love to end this on a note of reflection. We obviously all went through a really challenging year, but the year also allowed us as people in the industry and businesses to think about what we offer and, how we can reset and do it better. So Jeannie and Elliott, what have you learned this past year that you'll take with you going forward?
Well, I think for us at Alaska, the two words that come to mind are teamwork and velocity. I think we have banded together as even, I think, just commercially in ways that I don't think we ever thought we would. And we have developed, I think, some really strong bonds and I think shared understanding of who the customer is and what we need to do to drive our business. And I'm so proud of that. And I think the velocity, I think that we have also proven that we can do things, we can almost achieve all three things, better, cheaper, faster in a lot of ways during COVID because we had to. And so I think we've raised the bar on ourselves in terms of what we can deliver, in our timelines and in our work streams. And I think that's, it certainly has made us all busy, but I'm also proud of that work as well.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, and I think just like springboarding off of that idea of velocity, be proactive. Don't sit and wait. Obviously you want to be data driven and use what you can to make your decisions, but don't wait too long. And don't be a victim that we all have some control in our lives. And there are ways to be proactive and still engage even in times when travel might be down.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a really great place to end it. Just thinking about how we can come back even stronger. There's so much going on in customer loyalty right now. Such an interesting time. So thank you so much for being here with us, Jeannie and Elliott. To learn more about Amperity, you can check out their showcase page. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thanks. This is
Have
fun.
a great day. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.